Pat Mayo Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, everyone's favorite day of the year, the 2026 March Madness bracket picks, some odds, some futures, some bets. We got it all here for you. If you just want some Cam Young monies at the players, now's a good time to reinvest. Also, a very good time to reinvest too. Underdog right now. Code Mayo at Underdog. Get you a deposit bonus of up to $1,000 on the Pick'em game. You play $5, you get 50 right away, and there is a huge free bracket game going on momentarily. It'll be uploaded onto the app with $20,000 going to first prize in the bracket. Joining me as he does every single Selection Sunday every year with a lot of good results. Ben Rasa from OddsShopper. What's up, my man?
Hello. Yeah. Great day of the year. I love this show. Look forward to it every year. So we got a lot of work ahead of us, but I'm excited to talk about it as always.
We're going game by game, region by region. No better person to do that with than my very old friend, first time, long time, Brad Evans. Sir, what's up?
Hola, amigo. Merry March Madness, gentlemen, to you and yours. Let's tip this bad boy up, and I'm already expecting to roll and smoke my bracket probably the end of day one.
That's not the vibes that we generate here on the show. We're going to start with the East. We're going to start with Duke, and I want to thank everyone who reached out to me this weekend, the celebration of my third child. I feel like I've been on a cocaine bender for 3 days. Not that I know anything about that, but I haven't slept in like 70 hours, so we're going to be firing some bets. We're going to be having some fun with March Madness. Let's start. Duke is number one. They're facing Siena. Ben, do we expect problems?
Siena's coach, Syracuse great. He'll probably be coaching Syracuse soon enough. That's about all I have to say about Siena. Congrats to them. They haven't been in the tournament for quite a while, so be one and done for them, but good for them to be here.
Brad, when you see Duke at the top of this East, how do you feel like their draw went? Because they're the betting favorites to win this now.
I think it's a magnificent draw, to be honest with you. And I got a lot of pushback already on social media. I thought it was the easiest road to hoe, really, of any of the teams that were out there. And people are like, oh, man, look at the pedigree. Look at the legacy. They're falling in love with the names of the likes of Michigan State, of UConn. I think the Sparty Party is really the only roadblock potentially for the Duke Blue Devils. Ultimately, we got to find out what the latest is on Pat Ngangba. One of their key big men inside, whether or not he's going to return from a foot injury in the early portion of the big dance. And then Caleb Foster, he says he's going to try to get back if they can make it to the Final Four. I'll believe it when I see it. He's got that fractured foot. I don't think we're going to see him at all in the big dance. And a guy that was hitting 40% from downtown and really thins out that backcourt. But you got Cam Boozer, who's a baller and shot caller. So I think Duke, honestly, of all the one seeds, they got the best draw of the bunch.
Ben, your thoughts?
Thank you. Okay, I put this out on Twitter maybe 15 minutes ago because all I saw was everyone saying that Duke got this impossible road. I don't see it either. I really don't. Sure, Kansas, you mentioned it, St. John's, UConn, all cool names. I think we'll get to Arizona. To me, they got a really dicey road, but Duke's coast is, I think, somewhat clear. Ohio State, we're going to talk about them in a second. Could be a little turbulence, but I don't think that Duke's road is nearly as tough as everyone seems to think.
Now, as many viewers of this show know, I have not watched a single second of college basketball all year long. That's why I trust the people that I put on. When we get to a decision, if Ben and Brad disagree on who is advancing in our bracket, then I have the tie-breaking vote based on what they have told me. Now, we've had great success with this, Ben. We've got the winner, 3 of the past 4 years now?
We've been on a little run. Yeah, there's no doubt. We had Virginia off their disgrace. Then they made it right. With Florida last year was good. So this is going to be a tough year, but I'm going to hopefully see if we can do it again.
Do you think, Brad, that the winner of this tournament comes from the East?
The winner of the tournament comes to the East? No. I will say definitely not going to come for the East. I don't believe Duke, the number one of ones, is going to cut down the nets in the bitter end. I will pass.
All right, well, let's talk about UConn at the bottom. They're going against FOURR. Where's Furman? Where is Furman, Ben? Do we know?
South Carolina.
Oh, yeah, South Carolina. The Paladins.
This is the Paladins. Oh, this is your boy, the Paladins again. Didn't they win in the first round last year?
They beat Virginia the year after in an absurd game, and now they're back to be probably annihilated. But I'm glad that they're back.
Do we remember what a paladin is?
I think it's a knight, but I'm not positive, or a horse.
That's
It's some
correct.
type of creature knight. I don't know.
A paladin is a major fictional deity in the Dragonlance fantasy series. So I'm not sure if it's a knight or if it's this. I'll go with a
That
knight
counts.
since what you guys are
That
saying.
counts.
How do we see the road for UConn going to maybe the Elite Eight, Sweet 16, Brad?
I think it's going to be a rough, road for them. Rough road to hoe, to say the least. If you look at the history of number 2 seeds, many of them have been bounced either in the opening round, and that's a rare occurrence. Only a handful of times that has happened in NCAA tournament history. But we have seen, I believe it's like 15 of the last 17 dances, a 2 seed exit by the end of the first weekend. I think UConn is the most vulnerable of all the 2 seeds. And I will say this, and I guess a little bit of cart before the horse, because we're going to break this game down. I would suspect a little bit later on here in this broadcast, but that 7-10 matchup between UCLA and UCF, I think the Bruins are going to win it, assuming that Donovan Dent is A-OK, suffered what is believed to be a lower body injury, trying to get the very latest, but Tyler Bilodeau is going to be available. If those 2 guys, Dent and Bilodeau, are on the court for Mick Cronin, I think they're going to win not only one game, but they're going to bounce the UConn Huskies as well and taste sweetness. I feel the Huskies, again, the most vulnerable number 2 seed of the batch.
Ben, I like this already. We got upsets. We got number 2s going out. Can you please agree with this so I can put this in my bracket?
Sure. I'm not a big UConn. I'm definitely going to be short in UConn. I don't know who it's going to be. Moving up a little bit. I'm not in love with, certainly not Louisville. I think Michigan State's fine. That's a cool 7-10 game. Obviously, Brad, I'm leaving all the Big Ten to him. We'll talk about the Illini soon enough. But I think that UConn's going to be in for some real tests. And to St. John's game, it's one game. I don't want to overreact. But clearly, people who are casual, they get to the bracket rightfully so. They say UConn and they think, oh, it's the UConn team of a couple years ago. It's not. That is not the same team. It's not the same personnel.
So, Brad, no Kemba Walker on this Utah or on this UConn team?
No, but Alice Caravan, I think, has been there since he predates the combustible engines invention, I believe. He's been in stores for just an eternity and is a guy that is a legend in that program. But they have a lot of inconsistencies offensively right now, and a team has just repeatedly played with their food against lackluster competition. In the Big East, only a 3-bid conference this year has not really prepared them for what will be a road full of potholes in the NCAA tournament. So a lot of ailments impacting UConn, and it will lead to their early dismissal, I believe, in this year's Big Dance.
So right now, UCF is a 6.5-point underdog at Open, Brad, against UCLA. We're taking UCF here?
No, I will take the Bruins, assuming, again, I'm not going to bet this right away, but I'm assuming that Donovan Dent is going to be in uniform. He's absolutely key. He's one of the best guards in this entire NCAA tournament field. He's been stuffing the stat sheet here down the stretch. Again, we got good news on Tyler Bilodeau. It was a mild knee strain. Mick Cronin said he could have played, the game after in the Big Ten tournament in which they got bounced. But he's going to be on the floor. We know that for sure. We just got to get clearance for Dent. Assuming Dent is in, game of the Bruins are going to win by 10+.
Ben, I always read you my stat sheet that I have provided by the PME stats team. Would you like to hear it about UCF?
Absolutely, yeah. They're a mystery team.
To pick the Knights to be a feel-good story, you need them to beat a powerhouse team. And we have evidence they're not about that life. They've had chances to impress against Iowa State, Houston, Arizona after the past 2 months and have fallen short. And by short, I mean they've been outscored by 76 points in those games. Themis Fulks is a creative guard you'll enjoy watching for one game. Brad, does that sum it up?
It does. And again, I think they're going to get absolutely trounced by UCLA. The Bruins are playing elite ball right now compared to the earlier version of UCLA in which Mick Cronin was roasting everybody in his presence. So I think that's spot on.
All right. And you like UCLA to beat UConn then? Because I'm for a 7 beating a 2. Ben, can we get on board with that?
Let's do it. Absolutely.
All right. If you are in the chat right now, I want to hear your biggest upsets, both of the first round, so I can tail them and bet them, and also for the entire tournament if you have someone crazy coming out of one of these brackets. If you really want to give me a baby present, you can do that completely free. What you need to do is smash the like to this episode, share it around for Christ's sake, and sub to Mayo Media Network. All right? If you're feeling super generous, subscribe, rate, and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast on Spotify, Apple, wherever you download podcasts. That would be very helpful. Let's go back to the top. We got Duke going through. Brad, Ohio State's an 8. TCU is a 9. Who you got?
Yeah, TCU can really get after the glass, and that is an area of weakness for Ohio State, outside the top 200 in offensive rebounding percentage and defensive rebounding percentage. However, the NCAA Tournament is always all about guard play, and Bruce Thornton, I believe, is a doctor 3 times over. He has been in Columbus so damn long. He's one of the best point guards in the country. He's a bruiser. He's a guy that can knock down repeated threes. Ohio State playing their best basketball of the season and the most opportune time. Give me Brutus Buckeye. I think Ohio State wins, and I don't even know what the spread is. You're probably going to educate me on that, and I'll throw it out there too. They'll cover, whatever the number is.
Ben, 2.5-point favorites for Ohio State here.
Yep.
I am with you. Ohio State's playing really good. You just mentioned it. They have kind of transformed themselves. I wasn't positive they were even be in this tournament. They hit their stride. Good backcourt. TCU's defense, legitimate for sure. At times, though, I'm not really sold. I'm glad both teams made it, honestly. I like TCU. I bet them a lot this year. I think it's one and done for them. Competitive 8-9 like they all are. Duke probably handles either of them, but I think Ohio State is more prone to give Duke a more competitive game.
So from the TCU front, you know, there's only a few things that I try to go back to, true for betting on the tournament, and that's free throw percentage at the end of games. There's one guy on their team, senior Jaden Pierre. He needs to come through, and he's their only plus free throw shooter on the team. Yep. That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, especially in an 8-9 game.
Yeah.
I mean, they're always nip and tuck, so it may come down to laying bricks there, the charity stripe. I'm with you, man. That's why I like Ohio State. I think they're going to win by 5-7 in the end.
So, okay, well, I'm going to put a little star next to Ohio State. So maybe it's a first round play at -2.5. St. John's and Northern Iowa. Ben, break it down.
So Northern Iowa went old school Arch Madness, handled everyone, destroyed. I wanted to see Belmont. Obviously, we're not going to. It's a cool story. Northern Iowa was playing good basketball. I do think this is not of the 12-5s. I'm not worried for St. John's. I think St. John's will do what they do. Too much. Obviously, Rick will have them ready. Defensively, they'll really cause problems. I don't know where I'll have St. John's going out, but it won't be here.
St. John's has been moving in real time, Brad. They just went from a 10-point favorite to an 11.5-point favorite in less than 20 seconds. So people are hopping on St. John's right now.
Yeah, and understandable. So, guys, this game is going to be an absolute slog based on the style of play of both teams. Low possession, rock'em sock'em robots, kind of a back alley brawl. Northern Iowa's played a pretty damn good defense, and I never really want to underestimate a team from the Missouri Valley, but they just don't have the guards. They don't have the horses to try to penetrate that pressure defense, which is full court often at times for St. John's and the Johnnies, who an elite rebounding team despite their offensive ills. I understand why the line is trending in that certain direction in their favor. They may win this one by 15 or more.
Northern Iowa minus at free throw and in terms of steals. So not really the best strategy for an underdog in this situation. Kansas and Cal Baptist, winners of the WAC, coming in. Ben, did you tell me the WAC is going to be no more?
I think that it could be fake news, but I'm pretty sure they're just dissolving the poor WAC. So poor one out for Utah Valley, who lost in heartbreaking fashion. Could have been them. Instead, we get to talk about Cal Baptist.
Cal Baptist. We know we like to have, Brad, the 13 over the 4 somewhere. This doesn't feel like it, though.
It doesn't to a certain extent, but Kansas, guys, it's just been so disappointing. We have been talking about on my radio show, BetMGM Tonight on Westwood One Sports, until we're blue in the face, how disappointed we are with Darren Peterson. What version are we going to see? Is he going to cramp up at any moment in time? That's a distinct possibility. Is he going to go out and give a maximum effort? Who the hell knows? In Kansas right now, guys, over last month, outside the top 300 and all Division I college basketball and effective field goal percentage offense. Phenomenal defensive team, but Cal Baptist, they have size in that front court at 7 feet and 6'11". They're going to hang tough. I don't know what the line is, but give me the Lancers to cover. Kansas will win, but they're not going to blow them out.
So tell me about Dominique Daniels, who's apparently quite good if he gets going.
He is. He is a guy that can beat you off the dribble, can nail some threes, and that's going to be absolutely key at those equalizers for any of these mid-major teams that they're going to compete with high major foes. So if you get him going, along with that front court, they can stay out of foul trouble. Flory Badunga is going to be a load. Tiller has been excellent for Kansas down the stretch as well. But again, man, they just can't score consistently. Maybe it'll change right now, get a little bit of rest, recalibrate the mind. But with that backcourt of CBAP, along with, again, a decent amount of bigs, they're going to hang tough. I don't think Kansas is going to wax the floor with the Lancers at all.
Kansas is currently, let's see what they're at right now. They're minus 13.5, Ben.
Yeah, it's a 136 total to give you an idea of kind of what this could be played at. Cal Baptist probably doesn't have the horses, truly, but could the game be played in the 60s or 70s? Definitely. And then you really got to be pretty precise to be covering that type of number there. So it's a type of team, you can look at it's tough because the few times they played competition, they were just outmatched. But in a tournament setting, with awkward shots, low field goal percentage, it could definitely be a grind. And yeah, Kansas, the tournament as they, it's not played in Allen Fieldhouse. If it was, Kansas would be just fine. But neutral site's totally different beast.
Brad, tell me about Darren Peterson a little bit. All I've heard about him is that he's awesome, but just doesn't play.
Yeah, the talent is elite. In terms of pure shot making, when he is on, he is the most valuable player, you could argue, in college basketball. I mean, Cam Boozer's up there, obviously. AJ Bonza would be my pick if I had the number 1 overall NBA selection in the draft this year. Peterson, for the most part, is still in that conversation, but he's had cramping issues. And he hasn't played a whole lot of minutes this year because those cramping issues, other issues, sicknesses, a little bit of sniffles, that cost him a game. And he's been wildly erratic with his shot here for the better part of the last couple of weeks is all. So, never know what version you're going to get on a night in, night out basis. And Kansas is a team that doesn't have a whole lot of depth. So they need him to show up and show out and compete. Otherwise, I think the Jayhawks are vulnerable to an early round knockout, which I believe will come to fruition. Maybe not by CBAP laying the uppercut, but somebody else likely will in the round of 32.
Ben, Louisville is the 6th seed. They're taking on South Florida. Louisville has opened as a 6.5-point favorite in the 6-11 matchup in the East.
First game, I bet. I took South Florida and the points. I think South Florida can win the game. They're a good team. Again, the American, I don't know. Obviously, Houston, these teams are not there anymore, so they don't get to see it. But South Florida is destroying everybody. In Louisville, talent, obviously, they're on the right path to where they used to be. It was rough for a while. It's good to see them in the tournament. I would watch out here. I think that South Florida is primed to really give them problems. I definitely like the points. I wouldn't mind seeing South Florida as a double-digit seed win a game.
I'm always for trying to find some upsets along the way, Brad. 6.5 points doesn't seem like it's undoable. It didn't seem like you were all that sold on Louisville anyway.
No, not at all. And we don't know the status of Michael Brown, their star guard. And look, this is a ballyhooed freshman class. We have the greatest freshman class we've ever seen in college basketball. And when Brown is getting down, Louisville can easily march on because they really pile up the points. Their biggest issue they have is a weak front court. They don't have the guys that are going to really rely upon with FOURR and some of those other cats. So you look at the South Florida team, I agree with Ben, and they really get after you. Offensively, they rev the engine. They played a speedy pace, so it's going to be zip, 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 zip. And the other key to the Bulls' success, they clobber you with offensive rebounds. They get a second chance. Nearly 40% of their possessions, and a team as well that's pretty stiff and stout defensively. This is not a great match for the Cardinals. I think their feathers get plucked in round 1. I also have USF, pull the upset.
Michigan State is the 3 seed. North Dakota State is the 4 seed. This is a pretty lopsided spread. Michigan State's a 16.5-point favorite, Brad. How does this Michigan State team rank out in terms of going long? Because all the notes that I have is just like, this is a very high floor team, but not tons of upside.
I disagree with that. Actually, I'm going to the Elite Eight in this bracket, and the reason is this. I think the bottom half of that bracket is relatively weak. And the Sparty Party, they're going to tap the keg. They're going to do a few stands. They're going to get sloppy. That's a team that punches them out repeatedly, defensively, one of the best defensive teams in the country, one of the best rebounding teams in the country on both ends. Defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding, generate a lot of second chances. They have shot the three a little bit better, and they have a premier point guard, though a dirty one, and Jeremy FOURR. So I think Michigan State will take care of business against North Dakota State, though North Dakota State, the Bison, I got to pronounce it correctly, so don't come after me there. They can really shoot the three, but they're going to get bludgeoned on the glass. Don't underestimate Foshizo Maizo. It is March after all.
Ben, that leaves us with Duke and Ohio State. Are we having Duke come out of this, or where do we want Duke to go out? This is always one of my favorite discussion points, that are we going to fade the big chalk favorite, and how do we fade them if we're going to?
So that's the tricky part. I'm not super sold on Duke, but at the same point, somebody has to actually beat them, and I'm not exactly sure who that is, because I'm not particularly sold on Kansas either. I guess St. John's could be that team. I guess Michigan State could be that team, because I agree. I don't think UConn's ever going to play Duke. So unless something absurd happens, and we've seen that it's very hard to make a stand like that where you have like a 7 coming out, or some weird, San Diego State style team. Someone's going to have to beat Duke. I don't know who that is. I don't think it's going to be Ohio State. So to me, it's going to have to be either St. John's or Michigan State.
Well, I have breaking news from my text thread. Cust has picked Duke to win the entire thing, and he has all 4 of the ones advancing to the Final Four, Ben.
Well, that's good news for us trying to short Duke. Might be bad news for Arizona and the rest of them. But yeah, this again, it goes back to the first thing we were talking about on the show. I really think this region is pretty weak. I know people disagree with that, and maybe I'm on somewhat of an island, or I should say we. I don't think that Duke's road is that tough, to be honest.
So, Brad, if we did want to fade Duke, who would we have them losing to in the East?
I think it's Michigan State. That's a team that actually matches up decently with Duke. Nobody matches up in all plus fashion with Cam Boozer. But what Michigan State can do is lock it down the perimeter. So guys like Isaiah Evans and some of the perimeter performers, those guys can be mitigated and put in a check. Michigan State has some decent depth, which Duke does not have. So if the whistles do mount up, Michigan State could take advantage. I think they're the biggest threat to the Dukies, baby, out east. Outside of that, maybe St. John's can hang for about 20 minutes, and that's about it. So it's Michigan State or bust in the East region to take down Duke, and that's all she wrote as far as that region goes.
So we'll have Duke advancing over Ohio State. Do we want to go with St. John's over Kansas? It sounds like we all kind of like that.
Yes.
All right, St. John's, and then Duke over St. John's. Everyone's going to bet St. John's if that game happens. People love St. John's every year. Just get St. John's in the tournament. It's like, oh, they got a chance. It's like everyone lives in the 1980s.
Yeah, they love Chris Mullen. They love Rick Pitino. Maybe he's going to wear the white suit the entire NCAA tournament. And if they do, St. John's national champions.
Ben, are you good with Michigan State knocking out Duke at the end of this when the Michigan State beats South Florida, Michigan State beats UCLA? We can go Michigan State over Duke?
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason, again, obviously there's a lot of intricacies with brackets, but part of it is you got to get to the game. And I think Michigan State has a really high chance to get a chance to Duke. First of all, they played Duke. I think that's a big advantage. They played Duke. They lost. It was in East Lansing, but they were fine. They shot bad. They were right there on the glass. They can match up with Duke. And if you get the game, you get the game. I'll live with the result. There's a real chance, if we get the bottom of this pod right, that Michigan State is pretty decent favorite in their matchups. There are 3 games before they would ever see Duke.
Brad, do you think much about the strategy of building a bracket, or is it just, I like these teams, this is where I want them to get through, this is who I want? Do you work backwards that way? Like, hey, here's the teams I like, and how do they get through? How can I create a path for that? Or do you put any game theory into, hey, I'm trying to win a bracket here. Here's what I need to do in order to facilitate that if I have this team winning?
No, I don't really think about anything. The bottom line for me is this. I have watched hundreds, if not thousands of hours of college basketball this year. I have covered these teams, these guys, these coaches inside and out. I have a pretty good guesstimation of the strengths and weaknesses of every single team that are out there. So Mayo, what I do, I print off, and I did this already, a sheet, and I fill it out, and I put it up on camera right now. This is my gut bracket, and this sucker has performed quite well for me over the years. I just, off the cuff, fill this sucker out, and we let it ride. By the way, you can check it out for free right now on my website, thegamingjuice.com, the gut bracket, and I do an analytical bracket a couple of days down the road, but this one always kicks ass every single year. Hopefully it'll be more of the same.
I like that the gut braid. This is no different than my golf and football picks. Just like what I think immediately tends to do way better than when I actually put research into it.
Yep, precisely.
Now, you guys, I just want to confirm this. Northern Iowa does not have Ali Faroukmanesh on the team, right? Because if he does, I'm picking them to win.
He's a head coach now.
Yeah, exactly.
He is their head
Colorado
coach?
State.
Oh, okay. So if he's their head coach, maybe he could like strip off some sort of suit, come in and just jack like 9 threes and make them all. Because that would be amazing. Is there a team in this side of the bracket, even some of the crappy teams that we have going out, do they have that guy who's just like, oh no, he went off. Like he went off against all these crappy teams all year. We're assuming he's not going to do it against the good teams. But you look up, it's like, oh, he made 11 threes in this game. And almost like CJ McCollum with Lehigh, where it's like, yeah, this guy's really good. I don't think that they'll do anything against Duke. It's like, oh no, he just made every shot.
Personally, I don't think you have a single one of those players among any of these mid-majors. If there is a player that qualifies with the definition you're laying out, though he is on a power conference team, it's Donovan Dent. If he is healthy, he can single-handedly take over games. I know. I have a very painful recent memory of the up-the-court Tyus Edney-like kiss off the glass to knock off Maya Lane 95-94 inside Pauley Pavilion a couple of weeks ago. That's the power that Dent possesses. We just hope he's going to be 100%.
Ben, is there anyone that you see from some of these teams?
Not in the East, no. There are teams like that we're going to talk about, but not here. I mean, we just saw a kid on Penn today drop 40-something. They're just not in this region.
Well, we're going to get to the rest of the regions. We're going to go to the South, but we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll break down what's going on with Florida and the crew down there. Stay tuned. Think you know ball? Prove it on Underdog and bet the bracket. Build a tourney bracket for free and see if you can outlast the rest for a shot at $100,000 in prizes. If you're a bracket bust, don't worry. You can turn your bets into real money all tourney long with prediction markets on Underdog. Available right now in most states like California, Texas, and Florida. Head to the Underdog app and put your bets to the test. With prediction markets, you can bet on money lines, spreads, and totals throughout the tournament, all in one place in real time. New markets drop every round from the opening tip to the final buzzer. So, if you love college hoops and think you know how each round will unfold, Underdog is where you make your bets. Download the Underdog app today and use promo code MAYO to get started. Prediction markets on Underdog, available in your state. Guys, you know what it's like when you start to get older. Working out, harder. The food that I used to eat doesn't keep me lean in the same way that it used to, and by the time the afternoon rolls around, my energy comes crashing down. That's not how we're supposed to be living in our 30s, and for me, very, very early 40s. Oftentimes, it's because many men suffer from low T levels. Doctors act like TRT is no big deal. Just weekly shots for the rest of your life. Then you dig deeper and realize what you're actually signing up for. Thousands of dollars to shut down your body's production forever. That's where Mars Men comes in. Mars Men gives you the same benefits of optimized testosterone, energy, strength, and focus without shutting your body down. No synthetics, no needles, no dependency. It's just like hitting the reset button on your hormone factory instead of shutting it down. made in the USA, and third-party tested. 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, you don't absolutely love it, and you get your money back. But over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website to see for yourself. For a limited time, my listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Hey, Ben, how are your tea levels?
Critically low, so I should probably sign up to whatever. I was half paying. I was checking soccer scores, so I need to play that ad back so I can get your code.
Men on Mars, Brad. I hit my 40s. I need some tea in my life. You don't need any tea. You got all the tea in the world.
He has all the tea on
Yeah, my tea, even though I'm 47 years old, it's diminishing by the day, but man, I can still bang it out at the gym.
How about Florida? Can they bang out in the gym as the 1 seed in the South?
Yeah, they are. And in fact, spoiler alert, I think they're going to bang it out all the way to the Final Four in Indianapolis. I think they have a really good shot of repeating as well. They have the best front court in the country, and Ruben Chendulu and Thomas Hawk and Alex Condon. And the biggest key and the biggest question mark I had all season long with this Gators team was the guard play. And Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland have really become more reliable, more consistent, and their two-way contributions. They're elite at every advanced metric that's out there. You might say, well, recency bias, Evans. They got clobbered by Vanderbilt in the SEC tournament. I don't give a damn. They're going to rock. They're going to roll. This team has all the goods, all the characteristics to go back to back. Similar to other Florida squads that Billy Donovan coached earlier this century.
Ben, you were all in on Florida a year ago. That worked out to our advantage. Why aren't you all in on them this time?
That's a good question, honestly. Probably because I'm in love with Arkansas. But yeah, I mean, listen, everything that was just said is true. And then I'll throw in their coach is a genius. That's why I was all in on him last year. I think what he did was just absolutely stellar. The transfer portal, you never know if these guys are going to work. You know, you come up from the Ivy League. How can he handle it? He's handled it pretty well. Florida's good. I would have preferred them to lose. I don't want them playing again in these hard-fought SEC games. That's fine. You win a couple games, you get destroyed by Vanderbilt, hard reset. You have a nice path. We'll talk about Houston. Florida is definitely, it's easy to say this now because they already won last year. I don't think it's as clear-cut as last year, and they needed a million breaks to even do it. But they're definitely live. They're definitely live to get there.
Brad, Lehigh is a 2.5-point favorite against Prairie View A&M. Where is Prairie View A&M?
Oh, where is Prairie View A&M? I think at Texas, if I remember correctly. If I know my SWAC trivia, that sounds about right. Look, they're a below 500 team for all the reasons. They're the first number 8 seed in SWAC tournament history to earn the automatic berth. Give me the fighting CJ McCollums with the most boring color scheme in the college game, and that's Lehigh.
Clemson and Iowa. Up next, the 8-9. Ben, where are you going?
I don't like either of these teams. I'll go with Iowa. Obviously, it's a new regime. Their coach knows what he's doing. I'll lean on the coaching. I really don't know what's up with Clemson. I saw them. I don't know if that was more of a Duke thing. I caught them in the ACC tournament a little bit. Honestly, pretty unfamiliar with them, but I'll go with Iowa. The defense. I never thought I'd say that in the same sentence. I think Iowa moves on, and they get the right to get destroyed by Florida's front court.
So right now, Clemson is a 2.5-point dog, and all my notes say, Brad, is that when they are a favorite, you bet on them. When they are an underdog, do not bet on them. Does that track?
Yeah, they're just a very unexciting team in my estimation. I like Iowa because they play deliberately slow, and they're one of the most efficient offensive teams in the country. They have some eyesores defensively, but the best shot maker on the floor, he's going to be wearing the yellow and black, and that being Bennett Sturts. He's the guy who's probably going to be a mid-round, first-round NBA draft selection. Dude's a wagon. He's a bucket. He'll single-handedly guide Iowa to the next round, which they'll lose by 25.
Okay, well, we have the 5-12 Vandy against McNeese State. McNeese State seems like there's some fun, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as strong as the Will Wade teams that are McNeese from a couple of seasons ago, but they're so guard-oriented. They play a lot of pressure in terms of their style of defense. I don't like McNeese, honestly, in this matchup. I got to go the opposite direction here, guys. I don't know what the spread is, but I am not Taylor McNeese. They're going to be a trendy 12/5, but I ain't buying it.
What's the status of Duke Miles, Ben? Because Vandy was great when they had him and not good when he was out.
Yeah, I mean, they look damn good recently with the two-headed monster in Vandy's backcourt. We just saw that they can really score. McNeese, I don't watch a lot of Southland, more than most, I'll admit. They're a fine team, and I'm not surprised that they're here. I would have preferred the Lumberjacks, but such is life. I don't like this matchup for them. The backcourt of Vanderbilt is really good. We just saw them, I thought, impressively handle Tennessee, and then obviously Florida. That was ridiculous. And then today they came up a little short. Arkansas shot like 60% from three. None of this is really relevant. I don't see McNeese pulling an upset here as double-digit underdogs.
The 4-13, Brad, is Nebraska and Troy. I want to bet Troy.
Yeah, and I understand why. I mean, if there is an area of weakness for Nebraska, and a very connected team in how they play, offensively, they've kind of slumped here down the stretch. And this is a school that has never won an NCAA tournament game. I think they'll beat Troy, but I think Troy is going to keep this nice and snug. Troy doesn't have a whole lot of size, but they are relentless on the offensive glass, generating a lot of second chances, decent three-point shooting team. So I think they'll be able to hang tough. I don't think they're going to pull the upset outright. I think Nebraska will make school history, but Troy won't make it easy.
I kind of want to go Troy here, Ben. It's all about balance with them, and that's what I like to see from these like 13 seeds or 12 seeds, whatever it might be, is that if their main thing goes down, can they do anything? And it doesn't seem like they have one main guy they go to. It's just spread across the board.
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things with Troy that I do like. One, they've been to the tournament. I know these teams flip a lot, but there is something to be said about that. Two, they are very balanced. Now, the whole Georgia Southern situation, if you look at how the Sun Belt does their conference tournament, it's very unique. But I thought Troy was clearly the best team there. I don't think it really matters in the sense that, I don't know about you guys, I think Vanderbilt is going to beat the winner of this game. I like Vanderbilt in the little pod of 4.
Yep.
So if you want to get nuts and maybe donate with Troy, I like them with the points as well. I don't know if they can beat Nebraska, but I do think all roads for whoever comes out will end with Vanderbilt, who I like amongst the 4 teams we just talked about.
Well, we'll go bracket game theory here and go with Troy since we would have Nebraska losing in the next round anyway. How do you feel about the 14.5 for Troy?
Yes,
too many points.
I think that's too many.
Yeah, way too many points.
It's going up. I think when we talked pre-show about this, Ben, it was 13.5. Now it's 14.5.
Let's public go. That's Brad already said it. I mean, I know this doesn't really matter, but if Nebraska starts slow, that will creep in. The pressure for them to win a game it's not nothing. And Troy has been there. They have been there.
The total in that game is 136.5. Like, this is going to be the most boring game to watch of all time.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the under may prevail in that one. Both these teams kind of grind it out, bleed the shot clock. I think it's going to be a low possession affair. So if I had to lean on the total, I would lean under. And that then kind of leans into, lower possession. Why Troy getting that many points is a bit asinine.
North Carolina's the 6, Brad. VCU is the 11. However, VCU is a 2.5-point dog here. This seems like a coin flip game.
Yeah, it really does. I like VCU quite a bit. And with no Caleb Wilson for North Carolina, I think this VCU team, they don't really have any weaknesses across the board. They play some excellent on-ball pressure defense. So the guard play of North Carolina is going to have to show up and show out. VZR is going to be a problem, I think, for VCU defensively. The big 7'1" center. For Carolina, can beat you inside. It can even knock down a couple of trays here and there. Seth Trimble is a very good downhill driver and finisher. But I like VCU's balance And again, I like their 3-point shooting accuracy as well. A team that really gets to the free throw line early and often and can make opponents pay there. So, yeah, give me the Rams. I'll take VCU.
Ben, with Virginia Commonwealth, the note that I have for my stats guy is that if the game is being called tight, you want VCU here. If it's not, they're going to lose.
I think that's somewhat fair. VCU. I'm a big VCU guy. Apparently they had to have it today to get in, but they did, and they're here. So I got to rep the A10. That's my conference, even though UMass not even in it. I'm sticking with the A10. VCU is an awkward team to play in a tournament style. And the more important thing is North Carolina, it's not their fault. They don't have the engine. If they have a guy, we were talking about guys that can single-handedly drag teams. Caleb Wilson, he'll be on the first page of the lotto or whatnot. He's an elite player and he's gone, with the hand or whatever. So tough matchup. I honestly think VCU is just a better team at this point, and I do think they win the game.
We're going to box out for you here, Brad, but my notes guy did put it into my terms so I could understand what the Fight and Illini are all about this year as the 3 seed. They were called the Siwoo Kim of the NCAA Tournament. All gas, no brakes, historic offense, and defense is Siwoo's putter. It's just not good.
Yeah, that's entirely fair. It's they're just so lackluster defensively right now. Their biggest issue that they have is defending quick guards. See Dominant, see Wisconsin not once but twice in that dynamite backcourt, Jonathan Blackwell and Nick Boyd, and how they just eviscerated Illinois repeatedly. So Illinois is the longest team in the country. They're phenomenal offensively. Keith Wagler is an NBA lottery pick, freshman, another standout freshman guard who's got Steph Curry-like range and excellent driving skills. I like, the matchups for Illinois. And honestly, I really like the draw on this side of the bracket. Even though Houston is there, Illinois is a team that matches up quite well with the Cougs this season because of that length and their ability to score the rock. Houston is a team, even against weak defensive foes, they just have these long, prolific droughts putting ball through basket. I think that's going to lead to their undoing. So I like Illinois. I'm burying my bias the best that I can here, but I think they got a real good shot on making it to the Elite Eight in the South region.
Ben, do you agree with Brad about the prowess of Illinois?
I mean, Illinois truly is the type of team I really think their ceiling is that they could win the whole tournament. They have more talent. If they could hold double-digit leads, they would be unstoppable. Unfortunately, it's not best out of 3 or something, because in a one-game setting, they'll probably roll a floor game somewhere and get knocked out. But I've loved Illinois all year, to be honest. I like Brad Underwood. Start there. I love their coach. Another lumberjack of years past, but they've just got a lot of talent. I thought we don't need to go in a tangent. I actually thought the refs hosed you against Wisconsin. I was not happy with some of those calls, particularly in overtime, but that's neither here nor there. They're a dangerous team. We'll talk about Houston in a second. With Illinois, it's can they sustain it? Because the ceiling, the A game, it's the classic. If everyone played their best, Illinois would be way towards the top of my list. I love them when they play their best. They just have a lot of times they can't sustain that top end talent. They'll beat Penn, though, clearly.
They are 23.5-point favorites. That's the largest spread, tied with Houston against Idaho, which is at the bottom of this bracket, the 215. Any danger from Penn or Idaho, Brad?
I think that's way too many points from Penn. I mean, no danger, obviously, for the Idaho, but 23.5. You got Fran McCaffrey, the former University of Iowa coach, is now the head coach at Penn. Him and Brad Underwood, true story, really close friends off the court. So that game is going to be all sorts of fun. And Penn's got an absolute shot caller and baller as well in their own right. So. No, man, I don't think I can lay that kind of chalk with the ILL. I love them, but they're not going to win by 24 or more. I think maybe around 19 to 20. That feels right. Spread that large. A backdoor is always wide open.
St. Mary's and Texas A&M have the right to battle to see who gets demolished by Houston, Ben. Do you got a lean here?
Not so fast.
You go ahead, Ben.
I'm sorry. I got so excited. not get demolished by Houston, because I really like Texas A&M Bucky ball. Don't sleep on this team. It's one of these classic, I'm hedging my bet right now. I don't know if they'll beat St. Mary's, but if they do beat St. Mary's, the way they play stylistically, that's the old Samford coach, who was the architect of a lot of problems for a lot of teams. I think they could cause problems. I'm sure Houston will probably grind it out because they're Houston, but Texas A&M is one of the teams I would not want to play in the entire tournament.
Well, this is an interesting bracket theory here, Brad, because if we have, let's say we have Illinois beating Houston, why couldn't we just pick Texas A&M to advance, even as 2.5-point dogs in the first round, have them knock out Houston and try to pick up some extra points along the way?
Well, you could if you believe that Texas A&M is going to be able to take down St. Mary's, which I think is far from a guarantee. I know you look at the differences in conferences, with St. Mary's coming from the West Coast Conference and Texas A&M, of course, coming from the SEC. But A&M is highly reliant on the three. And St. Mary's can beat you in a variable amount of ways. They can pound you in the interior. They got bigs. They can kiss it off the glass frequently. And they're now an awesome three-point shooting team as well. Mikey Lewis shooting well north of 40% from way downtown this season for the Gales. And they're much better defensively than A&M is. So I would immediately write off St. Mary's. In fact, I have St. Mary's in my bracket. But whoever gets Houston in the next round, whether it's the Gales or the Aggies, I'm rolling with the Cougars, and I don't think it's going to be all that close.
Well, would you have Houston dropping to either VCU or Illinois?
I do have Houston losing to the Illini in the Sweet 16. And again, that's a bit of a coin flip matchup. I think Illinois can, hurt them on the glass. Illinois is one of the best second chance teams in the country. Illinois can shoot the three, although it's been a bit erratic here down the stretch. And as I mentioned before, Houston just has these epic droughts offensively. If Illinois could bring even like a B-minus level of defense, and that might be a ginormous ask, but if they can bring that in that game, they could win going away without any difficulty whatsoever. So, and Illinois, too, doesn't turn the ball over. And Houston is a squad that is really relying contingent on forcing miscues and mistakes, and Illinois just didn't serve it up on a silver platter. So, yeah, give me the orange and blue there if they do meet up in the Sweet 16.
Ben, would you like Illinois in that matchup against Houston?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, Houston, as much as I love Houston, all these teams, all these iterations of them, when you play that type of tempo and you get in these tournament games, even if you're a really good team, you're going to get in close games. And when you get in close games, if you're cold from three, or a couple things go wrong, it's not their fault that, at times guys got hurt and whatnot. I worry about them, and I don't think this is the best Houston front court of all time. They've had some absolute monsters over the years. Obviously, Fleming and Sharp in the backcourt, very, very good. But Illinois, we just talked about, it's not a talent disparity. Most of the reason that Houston beats these teams, the talent gap is immense, and then you pair that with the aggressiveness. But I wouldn't be stunned to see Houston. They're a dangerous team in their own right, so I don't want to write them off completely. But yeah, I don't think Florida and Houston will end up playing, even though what a game it would be if they ever do.
So I'll go A&M, first round A&M over Houston, then being knocked off by Illinois. That brings us back to Florida and Vandy at the top. Is Vandy going to be an issue for Florida?
No. I don't see it unless they have like an out of their mind shooting night from distance, which I guess they're kind of capable of with their dynamic guards. I think that front court is just going to batter and bruise the Commodores. That is a mismatch in the paint, in the pivot, in the post. So Florida wins, and I think win by 10 plus.
Now, do they go on? Do they beat Illinois in the Elite Eight?
Yes. Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, Illinois has got the size to match. Can that size be as effective on the glass? That's a $64,000 question. Illinois, I think, has a little bit stronger guard play, but I think Florida cohesively just far and away the better defensive team, and that will be the difference in that game in a zip kind of affair, probably race to 80-85 in the end, but Gators probably win that by around 5 to 6 points.
So Florida coming out of this region, Ben?
I think so, honestly. Complete team. And yeah, I even during the selection show, I'm not positive what this was, but when they shot to Vanderbilt, I could see a couple of players kind of, I think, already thinking that they're going to have to go through Florida again. That is not what you want to do after you just destroyed them. Florida will be ready if they get Vanderbilt. Very familiar with them. That's not a good look for the Commodores.
Let's go out west, where Arizona is the 1 seed. Apparently, they are the team that everyone is picking to win this entire thing. Ben, you know me. I don't like to do that. So is there a way we can get Arizona not winning the West? And why is Brooklyn's finest LIU a problem for them?
The Sharks. Don't sleep on the Sharks that I didn't even know they were. I thought they were the Blackbirds. So it shows what I know about Long Island. I thought everyone said Duke's region. To me, this is the reason Arizona is going to be in trouble potentially. Is I think this is a brutal road. I like Purdue. I like Arkansas. We'll see about Gonzaga's health. There's a lot of tricky teams that Arizona will have to get through. Arizona in the tournament haven't mixed. Maybe this is the year, maybe not. Very interested to go through this.
So is this the region that you looked at as well, Brad, and said, it's a bit tricky?
It is. I think this was the toughest draw, honestly, of all the number 1 seeds overall. And I mean, I got lambasted on social media when I said that. They're like, oh, it's an easy road. Look at the East. Again, I just look past the name that there's in front of you. Look at the strengths and weaknesses. A lot of those teams in the East, it's not even comparable at all to the West. So, yeah, there are numerous potholes in the road here for Arizona, though. In my estimation, they have played rough and rugged competition all year. They have conquered repeatedly that rough and rugged competition all year. They are, without a doubt, the team to beat in what could be, in many instances, the Wild Wild West.
There was a box office flop, Brad. Bad reference. we need
I was referencing the song.
We need that movie. I like that movie all the time.
Are you serious?
Yeah. If that movie's on, Will Smith, that's a great bad movie.
With Jim West?
Yeah. Don't hate.
Who plays the bad guy in that? Is it Kenneth Branagh who's the bad guy in that movie? The guy with no legs who rides the spider?
Spider, he has like no legs. That guy?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Kenneth Branagh.
I don't know who that is, but it's very possible.
It's like he does Shakespeare and Wild Wild West. It sounds like you want Arkansas to knock out Arizona, Ben. Am I reading you correctly here?
I mean, yeah, this is just such a bad draw for all the teams that I wanted this bracket to be different. I wanted Arkansas to knock out Duke or something, because Arizona, as much as I think they are primed to lose, they have been as battle tested as you could ask. They've gone on the road and won. They've won slow. They've won fast. They've won with the bigs. The guards, they've got an experienced backcourt, and they've got a true, the freshman backcourt guy's unbelievable. So they really have everything. And I know Arizona, the Matherin teams and some of that did not get it done. It's hard for me to go against Arizona, even though Arkansas, a fascinating game. I hope we see it. I know we're kind of jumping around a little. I hope Arkansas's freshman talent matches up and can give them the test that I want to say.
Would you have Arizona eventually meeting Arkansas in the Sweet 16, Brad?
I would, but I will say this. Arkansas and Wisconsin in the round of 32 will be a just dynamite matchup. You want to talk about high-scoring affair. I don't give a damn what the total would be. It could be close to like 185, 190. I'd probably still take the over. Both those teams will have the court. Both those teams have elite guard play. I already mentioned Blackwell and Boyd for the Badgers, and you got Darius Acuff, who is a lock to be an NBA lottery pick. Both those teams are absolute wagons, and it will be quite the affair, to say the least, on round of 32. I have Arkansas advance to the Sweet 16. They will give Arizona somewhat of a game because they're exceptional guards, but Arizona has a distinct advantage in the post. One of the best defensive teams. Mount Kriza, the big 7-footer there. Toby Owaka can do it on both ends. They just have too much muscle in the post that Arkansas simply will not conquer.
If you had to play bookmaker, Ben, right now, and that game was tomorrow, what do you think you would set the line at? Arkansas, Arizona?
5.5, something like that.
All right, so in the realm of upset possibility, just not very likely.
Oh yeah, but Arizona's they're the better team. There's no doubt about it.
Do we have any Villanova, Utah State opinions? Because this is where I do my annual Scotty Reynolds reference, who I'm quite convinced is not on the team anymore of Villanova.
Yeah, I like Utah State quite a bit. They have very speedy guards. I can really fill it up offensively. Defensively, a little bit lackluster. But look at Villanova. I mean, they're just so bland. They're tofu bland. They don't really excite me in any way, shape, or form. Not nearly comparable to the teams of yesteryear. They're just rather meh. So I will take Utah State in that game, and I did. I am advancing one game, and that's it.
And losing to Arizona. That sound good with you, Ben? And you're in on Wisconsin over High Point?
So I wear a High Point sweatshirt frequently. I love High Point in life. I wish they got a better draw. That's a 30-win team. They were in the game last year. I believe it was Kansas. I don't have it in front of me, but they played someone somewhat competitive, and then it kind of got away from them. But yeah, I'm definitely in on Utah State. I think Villanova's ahead of schedule in terms of where they're at. But I'm shorting the Big East. I don't like the conference this year, so that doesn't help them. And B, Utah State, San Diego State was a good team, and Utah State kind of handled them out there. I was very impressed with what I saw during the tournament.
Do you like the 2.5? They're favored by 2.5 as the 9.
Yeah, I would lay the points.
All right, so let's do that. We'll go to the bottom part here. We have BYU against the Texas and NC State play-in, Brad. What's the history of these play-in teams of the 11 seed? Is it that they get some good momentum because they've already played, or is it a hindrance to them because they're a bit fatigued?
No, it's more the former than the latter. You look at 12 of the 14 years that the first 4 matchups have existed. Those 12 of the 14 that I mentioned have advanced another round. Now, it didn't happen last year. A lot of people were thinking it was going to be North Carolina. Controversially, they got in the NCAA tournament. They won their first 4 matchup, but did not win the round of 64 game. Can NC State or Texas do that against BYU? Sure. I think it's entirely on the table because BYU is not playing a damn lick of defense. And they have AJ DeBonta, who is an absolute stud. I understand that. But he's not getting any help outside of Robert Wright. A lot of inconsistency in the offensive end, but defensively, they're woeful. I still feel BYU will survive their opening round matchup against NC State or Texas. Both those teams, the Wolfpack and the Longhorns, coming in slumping. But we'll probably discuss one of the other, playing pair of teams, and I may have a slightly different perspective on those.
Ben, do you like BYU to advance here just because they have by far the best player in the game?
Probably. BYU, they're another team. It's not to the severity of North Carolina, but Brad just said it. They've got now 2 guys losing, so they've lost some guys, and it's just showing, and they're just not a complete team. I think I don't know what's wrong with Texas. Texas has got a lot of talent, but they're a mess right now. I think BYU will be just fine in that game if it happens, whoever they get, and then I see them having a pretty short stay in this bracket, to be honest.
Tell me anything about Kennesaw State that can get me to pick them over Gonzaga. Is it doable?
They're the Owls.
No.
That's cool, but that's all.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, hootie hoo. Give me the Zags.
Is Gonzaga? How does this Gonzaga team rate? Like, they're a 3 seed, so obviously they're pretty good. Is this a legitimate team that can make some noise going deep, or is this a Sweet 16 and out team?
Sweet 16 and out team. They don't have the backcourt compared to some of the other teams of yesteryear. I love Graham Ike. Braden Huff looks like he's trending in the right direction. He's been out with a knee injury for multiple weeks. He's absolutely a key cog on both ends of the floor for them. And Ike can go out there and get 25 and 10 game in and game out. They just don't have that much of a reliable set of guards. That backcourt has a lot of question marks. Again, I like the draw on their little pod. They'll taste sweetness, and that's it.
Miami is playing Missouri, Ben. Who we taking?
Give me Missouri. It's a weird game, to be honest, and this is a Miami team that I think is Clemson-esque, where they don't elicit a huge response from me. I've seen Missouri a lot. They can be a tough watch. They can be really physical, and they have to be when you play night in and night out in the SEC. Think they do enough, to be honest. Just a weird game. It's one of those 7-10s that I don't really know how good either team is, to be completely honest.
Brad, Miami's a 1.5 point favorite in this game.
Yeah, the advantage that they have is on the glass. They're one of the best rebounding teams this entire NCAA tournament field. Jai Lucas, I think, has really maximized the potential of this squad. However, what is going to be key here, folks, is the fact that this game is played where? St. Louis. Do you think it's going to be a bit of a home game for Missouri? Yeah, it will be. I think the crowd's going to be backing them on their side. I'm going to take the Tigers here, though I feel Miami is the better team. I think Missouri, essentially with a quote-unquote home court advantage, will seize that opportunity and prevail.
So Mizzou advances as a 10 seed out of the first round. That leads us to Purdue and Queens. Is Queens Queens College, like in New York?
North Carolina.
Oh,
and
okay.
apparently they're merging with Elon, so they're not even going to be a school next year. So shout out to Queens.
Have they ever made the tournament before, Brad? Because I don't ever remember seeing Queens on any of the brackets.
No, I mean, they've barely been Division I team. So, yeah, this is the first time they've gone dancing. They're a decent three-point shooting team, but Purdue coming off the high of winning the Big Ten tournament, you might say, well, you got to fade these guys and play any defense. Well, the defense that I saw in Chicago, if that carries over the NCAA tournament, Purdue may actually live up to the hype, and that hype was flirting with the Final Four, if not outright getting there.
Purdue is a 23.5-point favorite in this opening round game. So we'll have them going through. Do we want to put Purdue into the Elite Eight, Brad?
Yes. Automatic for me. I'm not a believer in the Zags, and I don't think there's any team in that section of the bracket out west is remotely a threat.
So, Ben, this is why I wanted to lead you down the road to try to get you to say Arkansas beats Arizona. That the note that was provided to me about Arkansas is if Pat Mayo was an all-world college basketball player, he would be Darius Akuff, unwavering confidence, the greenest of lights, and endless aggression. That sounds amazing.
He is amazing. They got dudes. There's no doubt about it. I just don't know, A, if they can stay out of foul trouble, and B, if they can handle the front court of Arizona. But say what you want about Calipari. He knows how to coach up young backcourts, and he's got a good one here. They're really, really talented. I agree, by the way, Purdue has like no threats, and I know they lose to like a 15, a 16, and 18. They make new seeds for them to lose to. I would hope that they'll just be able to figure it out. All those guys, they were on that team, like Lawyer and Smith and Kaufman. They were on the Fairleigh Dickinson disaster, so they got plenty of experience. They'll be just fine.
Brad, so to go back here, let's see. If anyone is going to go on a Kemba Walker-like run, it would be Akuff. Am I even pronouncing this guy's last name correct?
No, it's Darius Akuff.
Akuff.
He would be that guy that could do that. I mean, he's going to go out there and drop 30 every single game without any hesitation whatsoever.
Is that good enough to beat Arizona, even with the small-chested man?
I don't think so, because again, Arizona's is going to have a monstrous advantage in the post with Krivas and Awaka and Arkansas. Their biggest weakness is on the glass. They're 200 plus in offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding percentage over the last 30 days. As good, as electric as they are offensively, they're going to have to bring an A+++ game to knock off Arizona.
Can Purdue beat Arizona then?
No. Nobody's got to beat Arizona. News flash. Not out west. Maybe they're going to fall in the Final Four, but Purdue, pound for pound, will not knock off the Wildcats. They're a tour de force, my man.
So, Ben, you think that Arkansas has the better chance than Purdue does of beating them?
I do, because I think to beat Arizona, you're going to have to play like it's the Illinois theory. Like you need someone who can just play out of their minds. Purdue is a very stable, solid team. Obviously, they look great today. I still think you need a wild card team like Arkansas, even like a Utah State, something. You need an outlier team, and I think Purdue is just a little too stable for that, to be honest.
So, I mean, I'm trying to remember. Arkansas hasn't won the national championship recently, have they?
No, they won with like Nolan Richardson like 30 years ago.
Yeah, aren't they the team that perpetually underperforms in the tournament?
Not last year.
They didn't win.
No, but they exceeded expectations. Remember, they were 7 or 10 seed. They were in that 7-10 game, and they knocked off the 2.
Okay, Arizona it is, beating Purdue, going to the Final Four. I really wanted you to make the case for Arkansas, Ben. I really wanted this.
I love the team. I'm just pissed off about the draw. If it was
Yeah.
anyone but Arizona, I would be beating the drum. And I definitely think they're live. They will be a pretty decent dog in that game.
Wait, well, you said 5.5, 6.5. I know when we get to that game, if it happens, that you'll be betting the points.
Yeah, probably because I love Arkansas.
The Midwest has Michigan as its 1 seed. They will play the play-in of, let me see if I got this, UMBC and Howe. Is that Howard?
Yes, Howard.
Okay. And UMBC is the University of Mexico.
The Retrievers.
The University of Mexico, British Columbia?
No, Maryland, Baltimore County, but close.
Yeah, the opposite sides of the continent, both north and south and east and west from where this is in like Annapolis County. But hey, we're good to go here. How far does Michigan go as the 1 seed?
Well, I had them making it to the Elite Eight, and I'm going to stop right there. I almost went to all 4 number 1 seeds yet again. I think it will be predominantly chalky in this year's NCAA tournament. This Michigan team is absolutely loaded, but their biggest downside right now is the fact they lost their backup point guard, LJ Kaysen. Without Kaysen on the floor, they lack the depth at the guard position, though L.A. Cadeau has been awfully good. And the other big area of concern for the Wolverines, they've been too turnover prone. There's just shoot themselves in the foot repeatedly. And, I could see a matchup a little bit later on in this region that could give them some problems as a result. So it is not a foregone conclusion. Michigan is going to be blazing a trail to Indianapolis this year.
Want to remind everyone, if they are in Canada, outside of Ontario, go to coolbet.com to make your March Madness bets. The lines are already up there right now. Hit the description, get yourself a bonus, and win some money, and then you'll get the fastest payouts in the biz if you are correct. Coolbet.com, highly recommend right now. Ben, how far do you see Michigan going?
Pretty far by default because I think they got a big break because I don't like their region. I think is pretty weak. I hope Virginia or Iowa State can. I think both of them can beat them, and I think that's probably the best chance outside of maybe Alabama, who's like the ultimate wild card. I don't know about Alabama. Obviously, last year was different. Yeah, I don't think I'll say this. Someone's going to beat them, in my opinion. I'm just not sure who that's going to be.
Will it be Georgia or St. Louis in the second round, Brad, with Georgia opening as a 2.5-point favorite?
No, it's not going to happen. Look, I actually like St. Louis in that game. If the version of St. Louis from about a month ago shows up, that is a team that is one of the most balanced in college basketball. They really spread you out and space you out on the floor. They can score early and often prolifically, and they have arguably one of the greatest white guys in the entire game. Wears the goggles. He was at Indiana State a couple of years ago. Robbie Avila, also known as, and I didn't make up this nickname, he actually sells merchandise with this nickname on it, which Mayo, I think he would look spectacular in. Milk Chamberlain. You're welcome.
Well, I'm going to pick St. Louis then to advance out of round 1 and lose to Michigan. That's a good enough SJ for me. That is quite a sell job. Milk Chamberlain. Let's go. Texas Tech and Akron, Ben. Who do you like?
Like Akron. Texas Tech. Good team. Obviously, another one in the bucket if it's not their fault. They lost not just a good player, a great player. Now the backcourt is still stabilized. Anderson's fantastic. You don't want to mess around with Akron, though. They're another team with experience. They've got dudes. They took the best shot they could get from Toledo, and they still won the game. I know everyone was in love with Miami of Ohio. Akron in the MAC, I thought, was just as good of a team. I think they win the game. You're getting 8.5, too. That was another bet I made pretty early. Watch out for the Zips to cause some problems.
So we're going to get a Zip Southern Florida parlay in the first round?
That sounds pretty spicy.
Oh, love that. I'm on board.
Do we just do double money line instead of taking the points?
I'll take the points. Be safe. And then a little sprinkle. I mean, you could put something on the money line. I actually have South Florida and Akron both winning a game in the tournament. So I think it's worth a little something.
Yeah, you parlay those two together, money lines. You get almost 10-1. Brad, I just had a kid at 40. You think I'm playing it safe over here? No, thanks.
No, man, roll the dice. Let's go.
Alabama and Hofstra. Any chance Hofstra wins?
Sure. Alabama lives by the 3, and they certainly die by it. And Hofstra's a team that could shoot the 3 pretty consistently from outside. Are they going to be able to match the Crimson Tide blow for blow? Probably not. But Hofstra's also a team that really gets after on the offensive glass. And Alabama really doesn't seal off the interior all that well. I think Hofstra's a live dog. I have the Crimson Tide rolling into the next round. I actually have them rolling past Akron to the Sweet 16 because for some sick and demented reason, I believe they will indeed live by the 3 before their luck runs out against Michigan.
Ooh, Ben, I like this. I mean, although Brad has just made this case here, I kind of like what he said about Hofstra.
Speedy Claxton. That's the best I can give you. They're a cool team. And listen, Alabama is we just saw it, and I know Ole Miss made a little run, and that's all well and good. Alabama can lose to anybody just because of the way they play. They've got elite scorers, but they play as frenetic of a pace as you're going to find. So you want to roll the dice with a Hofstra team. I don't think it's crazy. Ultimately, I think talent wins out. I'll be honest. I think Alabama's just too talented, but there's no one who plays really like Alabama in terms of create chaos.
So does Bama have a good shot of beating Michigan then, Brad, with the way that they play if they can get there?
Well, they're going to have to knock down anywhere between 15 to 23s, if not more. Can they shoot their way into a deep run? Yeah, they can obviously do that. But can they do it consistently over a multitude of games? I don't see it. The one thing that Michigan has, of course, is elite size. Yaxel Lindenborg is a long drink of water to go along with Mara in the interior at 7'3". They would just eat them alive in the post. And if those threes aren't falling, Michigan's going to win by 20 or more.
So, Ben, who do you see knocking off Michigan here? Are we just putting them through until we get to the bottom part of this bracket?
I think the prudent move, honestly, is to put them through until there's not teams that can handle the interior. And if you can't, you have to shoot an outlier performance. And Alabama could do that, but that's a stretch, to be honest.
Can you at least give me Akron over Alabama then?
Honestly, think that's a little more live than Alabama beating Michigan, to be completely honest.
Okay. Poor Bama, or poor Akron. I was hoping the Zips could go somewhere. Bottom part here. So, Brad, you said that this 11 play-in game, which is Miami of Ohio and SMU, that you had a pretty good take on this. What is it?
Yeah, whoever wins is going to win another game. And it doesn't really matter if it's SMU or if it's Miami, Ohio. That game is just full of intrigue, full of drama. It's going to be more or less a home game there for Miami, Ohio being played in Dayton. And SMU has got an elite backcourt with Boobie Miller. Sounds like B.J. Edwards is going to be good to go as well. He's a key scorer for that team and rebounder. Here's the issue with Tennessee. They're the best offensive rebounding team in the country. They're getting a second chance at over 40% of their possessions. But like Houston, they defend, but they don't score consistently. They're so erratic, especially the guard position. Unless Jacoby Gillespie really steps up, I see Tennessee bowing out. And Rick Barnes had a lot of great success in the NCAA tournament. He could get snake bitten yet again. And this year, in the opening round.
Who do you like coming out of that play-in right now? Because I'm looking at coolbet.com. SMU is an 8.5-point favorite, Ben, against. I heard that Miami of Ohio was good this year. And then I heard from other people they're absolutely terrible. Didn't they lose one game?
To UMass. The boys knocked them off.
Isn't that your school? Is that your school?
Of course it is. Damn right. So we handled them.
Where are they
Frank
in the tournament?
Martin and co. But
wait, hold on. Frank Martin is UMass's coach?
Absolutely. Everything I'm saying is Wild West levels of truth.
Like crazy Kansas State Frank Martin, like trying to kill someone, Frank Martin?
He's there. Wow. He's there running amok. I love it.
What happened to his career?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you end up in UMass, or if you went to UMass, you got some things to ponder, but I digress. I don't know. Miami of Ohio is a weird team. I think the controversy has swung too far. Like, yes, they're not the best team in the world, but they still did win all those games. I actually think they're getting too many points here, but I also think SMU probably wins, to be honest.
So we'll have SMU going over Tennessee. That brings us, Brad, to Virginia and Wright State. Where is Wright State?
The great state of Ohio, of course.
Okay. Named after the Wright brothers?
I would presume so.
That's a deep dive. I'll ask ChatGPT that later to see if that's going to be the case. Do we think that they can provide an upset, or is Virginia just good?
Virginia's good. They're not spectacular, but they're really well oiled. They're cohesive. They play connected basketball, and they're playing better basketball here down the home stretch. Very good offensive team. Testa Ritter is a guy. Probably go out there, get about 15 to 20 in this game. They have some sharpshooters on the outside, and they lock it down defensively. Different from the previous iterations under Tony Bennett, they don't play like a Galapagos tortoise style of play. So they're not going to bleed every second of the shot clock on a per possession basis. They can play at variable speeds, and that'll benefit them in the NCAA tournament, whether it's against Wright State and potentially against SMU or Miami. So UVA, I think, is a team that will taste sweetness on this half of the region.
So UVA is good for you going to the Sweet 16, Ben?
Yeah, they're just a solid team. They're not the coolest team of all time. They just do what they do. But they're solid. Very, very solid across the board. Yes, it's not the Tony Bennett style, but they're still just very sound across the board.
Santa Clara as a 10 seed is a 3.5-point dog, Ben, to Kentucky. Kentucky going through, or can we get a team from the West Coast going?
I'm going to ride with Santa
game.
Clara and the Broncos. Ben, are you with me on that one? The fighting Steve Nashes, man, they could shoot the rocket. They got that big 7-footer in the middle, and a Boye could wreak havoc for this Kentucky team.
Kentucky's been weird all year. Obviously, they show glimpses. I like the backcourt, but again, when you get into these tournament teams, when you play stylistically, Santa Clara to me is a more complete team. I know it sounds ironic, and you always have to wonder about level of competition, but yeah, Kentucky's played all these good teams and they've lost to a lot of them. So I don't know what that really shows us. And yeah, of course, talent-wise, they probably have more of it, but I think Santa Clara is I mean, I don't even call that an upset. That's just a toss-up type game, and I think if it gets late, I actually think Santa Clara has advantages.
All right, Santa Clara going on through, I assume, to face Iowa State. Brad, how deep does Iowa State go here? Do they knock off UVA?
Yes. Continue.
Can they knock off Michigan?
Yes. And I will stop there. I think they're going to make the Final Four. And the biggest reason is this. They got a lot of veteran leadership on that team. Joshua Jefferson has had an amazing year. If you look at the Ken Pomeroy offensive ratings data that's there, it really lives up to what you see on the eye test. But they're getting solid contributions from a lot of role players as well. They have adequate depth. And I think the biggest key for the Cyclones, they're one of the best on-ball pressure defenses in college basketball. They're forcing a turnover on over 20% of opponent possessions. What did I say about Michigan? Turnovers have plagued this team at times. Those self-inflicted wounds are going to metastasize in this matchup against Iowa State. That is why Iowa State, those Cyclones, blow their way into Indianapolis in the Final Four.
Well, Ben Meyer, the Pat Mayo Experience research team bet ISU to win it all 2 months ago based on elite defense and 2 high-volume scorers. Sounds like a pretty good recipe to me.
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, one of my most painful childhood memories was Iowa State losing to Hampton when they had Pfizer and Tinsley, and I never recovered from that. That's why my life went in the wrong direction. But they maybe will right the wrongs this year for me, because Iowa State, I do think they have the right ingredients. I think they have the right path. They have the right team. They got the right coach. Doesn't mean to put it all together, but they, as much as Tennessee State's kind of a cool team, they're going to breeze through that, and the draw is wide open for them. So I really do think that Iowa State is poised to make a big move in this tournament.
Well, let's figure out a winner from the Final Four that we have constructed together. We have Michigan State against Florida. It sounds, Brad, like you like Florida.
I didn't have Michigan State in the Final Four, by the way. Let's see. I knocked out
Duke. I knocked out Duke. Duke is gone in our bracket.
Oh, you knocked out Duke?
Yeah, fuck Duke.
All right, well, I got Florida, brother.
All right, Florida, MSU for you, Ben.
Florida's super, super dangerous.
All right, so Florida, Arizona, and Iowa State on the other side. Can we please make a case to knock out Arizona? Like they show up and they blow it. Fun times.
No, I'm taking Arizona.
Ben.
I mean, if you want that case, Arizona does this every year, and then they show up and they do blow it somehow. I think this is by far the best team that they've had, but it has not been good to them in the tournament. They have, I can speak from personal experience. They have destroyed many brackets in the last decade for me.
So do I go with you guys who know what they're talking about, or Iowa State? Jared, what do you think I should do? Go with my gut?
Live a little.
Gut bracket. Florida versus Iowa State. Who's going to win the national championship? Florida, right?
Yeah. Just like the Al Horford teams, they're back. Florida does it once, they do it twice.
And you have
Back to back, baby.
All right. Well, that's gonna. Well, what are Florida's odds to win the entire thing? Is it like 2-1, 3-1, something like that?
No. Before the bracket came out, off the top of my head, because I wrote about it on the gamingjuice.com, plus 750.
Well, that's not bad.
Was the price. And I got a ticket on them at 13-1 that I filed back in early January.
Plus 750 doesn't sound bad, Ben. What's Iowa State?
Or like 20, 15, 20.
No, I was hoping they'd be like 300-1 or something. I guess there's a
I don't know. It's just a guess, but.
All right. Florida. Did not think we'd be back here, Ben.
Neither did I, to be honest. But you know what? When you get into a tournament, obviously the guards are super important, but Florida you can't teach. Like, no one's going to grow this week. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
Florida's got these guys.
Hold on. What if you get that stuff that I was selling, the high tea stuff?
So if a team uses your promo code and they turn into the Monstars, I might have to reevaluate the bracket. But if they don't, Florida's going to have a massive, massive advantage on the inside. They've been there. The coach knows what he's doing. It's the recipe. It doesn't mean they win, but it means that they have the path.
Brad, where I saw you were doing a bunch of stuff at the Athletic too. It sounds like you guys compiled quite a crew over there.
Yeah, we did. I was assigned. It was, from my harebrained mind about 3 years ago. Nato DeFino called me, the great Nato DeFino, and he said, "Hey, I got this loose idea." And I'm like, "I know what you're thinking of, and here's how we can do it." So what we have is the tourney scouting guide that I oversee. And, the first year was a bit of a bleep show, to say the least, all the cooks in the kitchen. Then I said, just give me the keys in year two. And they did. I was able to build out a relationship with my buddies at the Field of 68, Rob Doster, Jeff Goodman, and their squad. We knocked it out of the park last year. Field of 68 is no longer available for a lot of the writing. They're with On3 now, so I had to go out and recruit some additional voices. I have a very cohesive, streamlined, small crew. Matt Fortuna, Derek Piper covered the University of Illinois for a number of years. Mike LaTulip, who played for Wright State and Illinois earlier this century, and myself. So strengths, weaknesses, outlook, everything you want, all cleanly presented on The Athletic. Check it out. The Tourney Scouting Guide, available now only for The Athletic subscribers.
And gamingjuice.com for Brad. Additionally, Nando DeFino will be on this show on Thursday. Myself, Nando, and Mike Wright on the Thursday special for this week after we finish all of our golf content as well. And a few fact checks here. Wright State University is named in honor of aviation pioneers Wilbur and Orville Wright, the popcorn man. And Ben, someone in the chat put in, you'll enjoy this, the Iowa State Hampton game was 20 years ago yesterday.
Oh, painful.
Yep. Truly devastating. I stayed home from school and I was so incredibly upset. And then I left. I had these sick Iowa State shorts and I left them in Vegas in the hotel in the Monte Carlo. And that really was the turning point. It was very, very bad stretch for me.
Where can everyone find and tail you on your South Florida and Zip bets?
It's going to be a great week. And of course, yeah, go over to Tails if you guys are unfamiliar with it. It's part of Odd Chopper. Great community. It's not just me. It's hundreds of people just dropping bets. Obviously, because it's March Madness, I opened it up for free. So anyone can go there. You just go to tails.bet/jazzraz. You can find it on my Twitter and you're in. You sign up and you come hang out and bet the tournament game. Simple as that. It's just a great week. All the great work out there. I just couldn't be more excited to bet the games, sweat the games, talk about brackets for the next 4 days, and see what we can do. So simple as that. Hope to see you guys over there.
Want to thank everyone who tuned in live, participated in the chat with us. If you're here after the fact, no worries. You can still smash a like and sub to Mayo Media Network and leave those rating and reviews on the audio podcast after you subscribe to those as well. I'll be using SharpStack all week. 4for4.com/Mayo gets you 25% off. It's not just college basketball. It's all sports. I'll be using those to fuel my underdog picks Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then just doing that on repeat for 3 straight weeks. Hopefully we can win a bunch of cash plus the big bracket over at Underdog right now. Code Mayo gets you that deposit bonus of up to $1,000, and in your first 5 pick 'em play entry for $5, you will get $50 in your account. So if you just want a free $45, go use code Mayo at Underdog right now. Okay? Subscribe to the newsletter if you want the full bracket printed out for what we have picked. If you want to continue to tail, Brad, Ben and I have been doing very good at this. 3 of the past 4 years, we have made it into the money in the bracket and won it twice in those 4 years. So hopefully we can run that back again. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time. We're good? All right. Thanks, fellas. That was awesome.